MJBulls is proud to produce the Raising Cannabis Capital podcast. Today's episode will begin after this brief message from our sponsor.
This ain't no desk job, but it's what you got to do to scale up to this in a single growing season. It's how in Oregon alone, we grew and harvested the single largest crop of CBG in the world. Grit, tenacity, hell, whatever you want to call it. The crew at HempTown USA has it by the bucket load. Just getting our seeds in the ground back in spring and growing them till fall was nothing short of heroic. Propagation, planting, maintaining what we have, and building what we need. Trust me, this shit ain't easy. But when it comes to harvest time, our team bumps the bar up to a whole new level. Next comes processing. Everything but the top flower goes off to get turned into crude, distillate, isolate, and water-soluble ready. Our product, like our team, is nothing less than best in class. This plant has always had the power to change the world, but it needs people to make it happen. We're lucky to have those people right here at HempTown USA.
It's not the only way. Certainly, there's still very successful individual investors. What we tend to do really well is we partner with a lot of people, right? We have a lot of investors who put money with us, but also like to still continue to look at direct investments. Here's the reality. The market is so inefficient that you have to rely on everything out there that's at your disposal to find deal flow. And that's where I'm always saying, hey, look, if you've got something to bring to the table, I'm ready to do it.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we are continuing this year's Cannabis Investor series with Chi-Chien Hou, the Managing Director of AFI Capital. Chi, welcome to the show.
Hello there. It's great to be on the show.
Before we begin, I want to give our listeners full disclosure. She's an investor in my daughter's company, but I'd be a fan even if he wasn't, because I just like the way he does business. Let's begin with your investment thesis. You started as a non-plant touching fund, but you added a twist, which I just think is super cool. It's called a sidecar. Can you explain how that works?
Absolutely. So when we approached cannabis investing, our initial inclination was, hey, this is a great sector, but given how immature the sector is, frankly, it becomes tough to make individual investments. And that's how a lot of people got into the space, right? They had a friend who knew someone, and this is a great opportunity, so let's do this, which is fine. Look, people invest for different reasons. People invest in different ways. There's an allocation for everything in your portfolio. Our view was that the opportunity in the market is to create a financial product. So a more traditional, diversified pool of capital invested across multiple companies in different sectors, different stages, different aspects that utilize more traditional structure and diligence, right? So the idea is let's create a more traditional financial product, right? A fund that people could invest in. It's not an ETF, but this is more akin to a private equity fund. So our view is to say, look, we want to find companies that can benefit from the growth of the legal cannabis business, the industry, but at the same time are federally compliant and are capital efficient. So that was ancillary. Now, at the same time, because we're scouring the country in different stages, different segments of the cannabis industry, we see a few situations here and there that we really like as one-off investments. And so for that, we've created a special purpose vehicle for our investors that want to opt in. We have on one end, we have a committed capital pool with LPs in a traditional fund structure. And then what we do is we bring deals to them periodically and say, hey, is this interesting? Is this interesting? Do you want to participate? And we let them invest. Roughly 75% of our initial LPs did not want to invest in leaf touching ventures. Yet I would say about 2/3 of our LPs have invested in our leaf touching deals.
Yeah. And like you said, if your LPs came in and weren't comfortable with that piece of the business, but as they were there, they get to see opportunities that they normally wouldn't have looked at. But now that they're part of your fund, they can see that. Let's just keep moving. One of the things that has always struck me about you whenever we've had conversations is you always seem like you're one step ahead. I don't know whether it's experience or intuition, but you have a good business sense on how things will play out. And do you think this COVID disruption has maybe made M&A activity more attractive?
We are believers in consolidation, right? For a long time in this space, you saw a lot of companies that frankly probably shouldn't have existed, but they did because it was exciting and no one told them otherwise. And so I always said it this way, the acquirers don't look like acquirers, right? They're not buttoned up, they're not put together. And the targets don't think they're targets. You have something like COVID, which on one hand bumps you up in terms of retail, but then at the same time, it depresses the potential outcomes and raises the risks. All this makes it even harder for you to see. There's always an asterisk that, if the next 6 months were better, or if this were solved, then this would all be better. Those are big ifs. And
that's life.
Yeah. But cannabis the swings are much greater in cannabis than in any other industry that I've ever been in. But at the same time, it's hard to tell people that. Say the volatility, you can't expect any of these curveballs. All you know is that there will be curveballs.
I'm going to jump in here because speaking of swings, one thing that's happened, I don't know if it happened overnight, but it's definitely happened, is that individual investors finding success with even one-off deals is just getting less and less likely. And we have a lot of individual investor listeners who got beat up with publicly traded companies and they're thinking, where do we go now? Talk to them about transitioning and what are some of the other advantages to working with your company?
Okay, I will start this off by saying I am a horrible individual investor. So when it comes to managing my personal stock portfolio, no one should ask me for advice. If I say I'm buying this, you should sell. Buying stocks and timing, that's not what I do. What I am really good at is understanding a market, understanding the opportunities in the market, and then structuring a deal that both mitigates the risks that we've identified as well as takes advantage of the opportunities that we see. Look, this is what I do full time. This is what I do for a living. We're always trying to make sure we see something, continue to dig, and if there's a question, we go try to answer it. Now, again, I only know how to look at it my way. If you're an individual investor, you have to start thinking about how you fit into the broader market. As more institutional capital comes in, as the opportunities change, as the definition of success changes, you have to adapt. Now, I think the benefit of going with a professional manager is, well, that's one way of adapting. It's not the only way. Certainly, there's still very successful individual investors. What we tend to do really well with is we partner with a lot of people, right? We have a lot of investors who put money with us, but also like to still continue to look at direct investments. Here's the reality. The market is so inefficient that you have to rely on everything out there that's at your disposal to find deal flow. And that's where I'm always saying, hey, look, if you've got something to bring to the table, I'm ready to hear it.
I want to take a quick break to tell you about one of our sponsors, Cream of the Crop, and their unique approach to building their cannabis business. This is a company that's growing at 10% month over month year to date. They're the 5th best-selling indoor flower brand in California, and unlike most cannabis companies, they're profitable. They're achieving this incredible success through securing the supply for their brands by helping cultivators turn higher profits. They bring 30 plus years of cultivation experience, award-winning genetics, proprietary SOPs, and their own special formulated nutrients to drive higher yields, better quality, at lower costs. And now they're expanding their highly scalable, very unique model beyond California. If you're looking to invest in the space, Cream of the Crop is definitely one to watch because they're on fire. Plus, the timing is good because they're doing a capital round in early 2021 to take their brand national. Also, if you're a cultivation business and you want to grow your profits, you really need to talk to these guys. They just increased the profits for one of their clients by $700,000 per month. Just incredible. And they're accepting applications for 2021 and 2022 partnerships across the country. So reach out now to creamofthecropgardens.com. That's creamofthecropgardens.com. Yeah, you mentioned working with your LPs and the LPs being a source of information, but you also have your portfolio companies and you also have the other firms that you work with that you co-invest on a lot of deals. So you have this constant flow of information that An individual investor just doesn't have access to that information. You don't even have to be smarter than they are. You're just right in the middle of all the information. So that just gives you a huge advantage. I'm going to have your links to your website in the show notes and on the MJBulls.com. So if people want to follow up and continue this conversation with you, because we just scratched the surface of it today, we have a lot more to talk about. But I think our listeners know enough about AFI Capital that they can make an educated decision. And if they want to follow up with you, they just click on the link and go from there. Chi, I'm going to have you back on again so we can continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Anytime. And no, this is a pleasure and happy to chat with you. And frankly, look, if anyone has interest in chatting, or we talk a lot, I think I'm a professional conversationalist for a living. So feel free to drop us a line at our site. I do want to clarify, I joke that AFI, it's slightly ambiguous and unclear, and there are several different AFIs out there. We are AFI Capital Partners, and our website will not talk about cannabis specifically because I do want to be able to get a mortgage still when I move. But anyone should feel free to drop a line. You do a good job of getting back to me.
That's good to know. Good luck with that mortgage. It's nice to talk to you.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
Crappie's Feel Better Company is a cannabinoid CPG company with a line of easy-to-use CBG, CBD, and CBN products built for the weekend warriors, the weekday Zoomers, and anyone in between. Crappie's next-gen products incorporate pharmaceutical-derived chemistry to precisely blend minor cannabinoids and terpenes, creating a series of proprietary formulas for hyper-targeted use cases. Harnessing a team of experts with over 75 combined years of chemistry experience, the company relies on its novel solubility technology, state-of-the-art delivery, consistent results, and unique eye-catching branding to stand out from the crowd. Crappie's executive team and chemists have created a vast and diverse product pipeline to maintain relevance in a saturated market. To find out how you can participate in Crappie's Feel Better expansion, which includes major retail placements, university-executed clinical trials, IP and patent submissions, GMP and API scale-up, and international distribution, go to crappiesfeelbetter.com or on Instagram at crappiesfeelbetter. Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Alt36, the country's premier blockchain payment processing platform that's providing dispensaries and its customers with a safe and secure payment option other than cash. To learn more, go to alt36.com.